Reaching consistent $20,000 months is one of the hardest revenue ceilings for most experts, founders, entrepreneurs, high-level coaches, consultants to actually reach. And the reason is because at that stage, you don't yet know if it's the positioning, if it's the offer, if it's the system, if it's the funnel, if it's the strategy. You don't know what's missing or if it's the ads. And so you hop from thing to thing, hoping that the next thing is going to be the thing that saves your business. But I have a secret for you. It is not one thing, it's all of it. It's all of it working together. And until you can get inside of a program or understand how to take each piece and connect it all together, you're very likely going to continue to stay exactly where you are. And so at the end of this video and linked below, you will find the link to learn about joining me inside of the Cotton Owl Collective. This is a new program. First time I'm opening the doors to anything where I will be in a coaching capacity. And if you would like to step in, it is a very unique offer to any founder, owner, or entrepreneur who really wants to reach that $20,000 mark and stay there consistently and then scale beyond it. So links below if you'd like to learn more, but let's dive into today's video, which is how do you actually reach $20,000 months. For those of you who are new, I'm Esther. I'm the founder of Cotton Owl. I love to talk about what I learned inside of Fortune 500 finance corporations, where I was a corporate coach and was able to work directly with some of the most affluent families in the United States. Fast forward, I've had Cotton Owl for the past 4 years, founded it, scaled it, owned it, and now I help other businesses do the same. So welcome, I'm so excited that you are here. But today I'm gonna walk you through the framework to reach your first $20,000 month, because yes, there is a framework, there is a system, there is a strategy, and there is a process to actually getting there. Because once you get to $20,000 months, you will be able to consistently and predictably reverse engineer to go well beyond. So the reason I love to start at just getting to the $20,000 month mark is because once you are there, you will know your cost per client acquisition, your cost per booked call, your cost to acquire a client, the lifetime value of that client, along with the strategy that you can actually scale. So welcome. So the first thing that you need when you are going to reach $20,000 months is you need an offer that your market wants. And that sounds so simple, but I see so many founders who have these amazing ideas, but they haven't validated that the market actually wants it. And so they put everything into recording video content or recording a course or putting together this amazing offer that a few people want, but not many people want. And so inside of that, there is an offer almost always that is a in-demand offer that many, many people would want. So the first piece is to make sure that you have an offer that does appeal to a broad audience, so that when you are posting on social or when you are running ads, you have a wide net of people that would want to work with you. So that's the first step, is having the offer that is in demand, that people actually want. And inside of every single niche and industry, this is pretty easy to find if you know how. And it's part of what we do inside of the Cotton Owl Collective, is really define what that winning offer is. So once you know what the offer is and how to position it, well, actually the positioning is the second piece. Once you know what the offer is, now you have to position it. What makes your offer, what makes you different? Because I do not care what industry you're in, unless you are in such a unique niche, which is very, very rare. You are going to have a lot of competitors, and that's great because competition means that there is demand. I love it when I see that we're in a competitive space for a client, because that means that there is opportunity, and where there is opportunity, there is money to be made, okay? So you want to have your offer positioned in such a way that it highlights why you're the obvious choice, why you are the person they should work with, and why you are the person who can help them achieve their goal, whatever that is. And inside of positioning lies a labyrinth of a maze, really based on just, all the marketing advice that's out there. It's so confusing. So it's like, how do you position your offer? Well, that's, guess what? Part of what we do inside of the collective. But the positioning comes down to your credibility, your authority, your background, your experience, your story. What are the results that you've gotten for yourself? What are the results you've gotten for your clients if you already have clients? All of that it gets tied into your positioning. And so this is where you are able to really define why you are the obvious choice for your ideal client. So that's a step part, is getting that positioning locked in. Then once you know what the offer and what the positioning are, now the next is, how are you going to get this in front of your ideal client? What's the best strategy for you? And so that's where you have to decide if social media is the strategy that you really want to put all your energy into, or is it paid advertising, or is it something else? Right? Because regardless, if you have a offer and positioning that's amazing, but people cannot find you, you do not have a business that's ever going to scale, or an offer that's ever going to scale. So you need to make sure that you have a strategy and a way to get in front of your ideal client. And there's many, many different ways to do that. And it needs to be custom to your strengths. And I'll give you an example. If you love selling one-to-one, I personally do, you love one-on-one conversations, then you're gonna want a funnel that brings people to book directly on your calendar to have a conversation to see if they're a good fit. If you cannot stand one-to-one conversations, then you're very likely going to need to do either a webinar where you are selling to many, many people on screen. If you know how to navigate a webinar successfully, if you know how to put a webinar together productively, if you know how to sell in that webinar to actually convert, then that strategy can work for you. If you don't know how to do that, then there's other avenues that you would need to look into, right? So there are so many different strategies you can have in your business, and you can either do the work like I did to learn those strategies. I highly recommend, even if you're not comfortable with them or it feels out of your comfort zone, to have a one-on-one sales conversation. If that is something that you're interested in learning, then I would encourage you that should be the strategy that you use for your business. But regardless, you want a strategy that's aligned with you, how you sell, and how you are actually able to sell your offer. And so now that you have the offer, now that you have the price point, now that you have the strategy, now you set it all up and you should automate it. There are very few instances where I will tell a founder not to automate their system from the beginning. Very, very few instances, is very rare. So for most people, I am going to advocate just go ahead and invest and have a software. They're not that expensive, but have that built, because that's where your email list is going to be built. So that is where you can do so much that you can do. I'm not going to go into the softwares, but you should have a software and you should have all of this completely automated as much as possible. Obviously, you cannot automate a one-on-one conversation, but you can automate the whole process of having somebody learning about you all the way to booking on your calendar to showing up to that call. The entire process should and can be automated. So now that you have that, and now you have decided that you're going to do organic to send people to that system, or you're going to do ads, my recommendation, to send people to that system, most founders think that that's where it all is, like that's where the $20,000 months are. Like that's it, that's all you need. That's just the beginning, okay? Because after that's in place, guess what? Now you have to test and you have to refine and you have to optimize and you have to look at every single piece of this as data. It's all feedback. If you put an ad out and people don't like that ad, it's data. You know that that ad is not the winner, and so you now have different iterations of that ad and you're testing different messaging and different positioning. The same with your offer. If you have never sold your offer before, and if you work with me, you should have, but regardless, if you have never sold your offer before, that offer is not validated. So while you might see somebody else in your industry selling that offer, until you have actually sold your offer, you do not have a validated offer. And so guess what? You have to test and you have to optimize, and you have to test the messaging, the positioning, the offer, the price of the offer. Is the offer enticing enough? Do people see the value in the offer? Are you able to sell it in a webinar? Are you able to sell it one-on-one? Are you able to sell it in a challenge? Is everything converting? And so this is the next piece. So that was phase one. This is phase two. Now everything's built. Now you have to look at it objectively, not emotionally. You cannot get emotional about feedback. It is what it is. You can't change it. So all you can do is take what you've already done and make it better. And you make it better by looking at the data, by looking at the KPIs, by taking the feedback. I can't tell you personally how many things I have put together and I'm like, oh, this is the winner, this is the thing. And then it was just crickets. People didn't want it, okay? You never know what your audience is going to go for until you put it out and you test and you iterate and you optimize and you test and you tweak. And so this is why when I help founders scale, I'm very clear and very specific on the time frame, because every single offer, every single business owner, every single price point is going to have its own journey and how and when you can reach $20,000 months in your business, if you even can. And the reason I say if you even can is because I see so many founders and owners who have really great offers and they put it out, but they don't want to do the optimizing and they don't want to do the testing and they don't want to do any of the required pieces to actually see success. And so they give up. And so if that is your mentality, one, you are not a good fit to work with me. But if that is your mentality, you are going to continue to struggle, because you're going to just keep changing, and you're going to say, well, this didn't work, let me change the entire strategy, and then you're going to hop to the next program, and then the next program, thinking that the next strategy is the thing, when the reality is it was never that. It was looking objectively at what you currently have that's not working and being willing to rewrite so that it does work. Okay, all of this we do inside of the collective. So if you, again, I have it linked below, but this is a huge part of what I help my clients navigate, because once you get through that, now you have consistent people booking on your calendar, and you should be able to close them and have lovely conversations or webinars, go live, answer questions, have people enrolling. And now comes the next part of that, which is the holding, the $20,000 months. How do you hold it? And this gets tied back slightly into what was already set up, making sure that the strategy that you set in place is repeatable. And that's why I love ads, because they just become so predictable. But it's having the ads bring your clients to you, or a very, very solid, already converting social media strategy that consistently brings clients into your pipeline. But that is how you're able to take what works and just create repeatable higher income months. But the holding it, that's where it gets really challenging for a lot of founders. And so that is the next step after you have reached the $20,000 months. While you're building towards it, inside of the collective, we talk about mindset. We have calls specifically for mindset, how to not just mindset, but how to structure your business, the processes, the systems, the tech, the software, all of that, like so much, the positioning, the copy, how to test, how to optimize. All of that is covered inside of this program, because I know that without that, any strategy is very likely just going to fail. And so this is why I'm really passionate about this program, because it's the first of its kind. Nobody offers this. And that's because I know that this is a big gap in the industry, where you're being taught one specific strategy, but you're not being taught how to navigate inside of that strategy. And so that's what we're doing inside of the collective, is making sure that you know what you need to do, when you need to do it, and how to reverse engineer, how to reach $20,000 months, and then what you need to do to maintain them once you get there. And so we do all of that together. Because once you reach consistent $20,000 months, I have found that most founders have everything they need. And yes, beyond that, it's probably hiring teams and SOPs and all the different pieces. That's its own separate conversation. But once you have the core of an offer and a strategy and a funnel and the messaging and the positioning that's consistently bringing you clients, you have what you need now to keep going. And so because I have seen so many founders struggle to get to $20,000 months, this is the program for you, because this is the program where I see so many founders give up, and I don't want you to give up. I want you to keep going, and I want you to see success in your business. And while I can't guarantee that you will see success or that you will reach $20,000 months, I can say, if you will follow what I have put in this video, if you want to join us in the collective, of course you can, but if you will follow what I have put in this video, if you will test and optimize, if you will continue to go, at some point with your offer, with your dedication, with your ability to navigate challenging questions on sales calls, hearing no's, hearing yeses, getting excited, dealing with the ups and the downs, and letting go of emotion during the process, if you can do that, you will eventually reach $20,000 months in your business. So this is the path, and I'm going to just recap it really quickly. This is the path to $20,000 months. You need an offer that's in demand, that is priced in a way that people will pay the price, but it's the highest price for your service or offer, because we want a high priced offer. You want the positioning to make it clear why you are the obvious choice. You want the system to bring your clients to you, your high value prospects to you 24/7, and it's completely automated. And then you need a way to convert them. And then just as importantly, you need to be willing to test, to optimize, to refine until everything is converting and you have a proven system, strategy, sales process to move your ideal client from just hearing about you to saying yes. And then more importantly, to be able to hold it and to maintain that and to consistently grow every single month. This is how you reach $20,000 months. It is not the easiest path, but it is not hard. And once you are there, the rest of your scaling journey gets to be so much easier. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. I would love to get any feedback, any ideas you would love to hear, any topics for future YouTube videos, drop them below. Again, my name is Esther. I'll see you guys in the next YouTube.